Hey, I'm Meggie Kay. So today I wanted to do a little bit of a tips video. Not really tips, more of like just things you might want to know if you want to travel Mongolia. Since I have finished putting out all of my actual travel videos from Mongolia, I figured this would be a nice little video to like summarize everything. So there are some things that I would typically include in this kind of video that I can't do for Mongolia since I traveled Mongolia on a organized group tour. I did it with G Adventures. So if you're looking for like a good like tour company to go through Mongolia with, G Adventures is definitely an option. I thought the tour was really good. Our guide was amazing. It was better than I expected. But yeah, there's just a few things that I thought that I could still mention that never came up in any of the actual travel videos that you might want to know if you want to go to Mongolia. Okay, so the number one tip, and if you take anything away from this video, you need to be aware of pickpocketers in Mongolia. It is a very big problem in Ulaanbaatar and the surrounding areas around Ulaanbaatar. So please be aware of pickpocketers if you are there. This actually happened to us. After the culture show, we were walking back to the hotel and the girl beside me, we were walking around and we were actually like being a bit aware because at certain areas it got a little crowded. So we were like kind of like keeping an eye on like if people were a bit close behind us kind of thing. And still, apparently someone took her phone out of her backpack. Now, she doesn't normally keep, like, important things in the front pockets, like the smaller zipper pockets of a backpack. And really, if you are traveling, don't keep important things there. But I think just after the show, slipped your mind, just threw it in your bag. And, yeah, apparently some guy opened her zipper and pulled out her phone. And thankfully, there was a very upstanding citizen, and just like there's bad people in Mongolia that will like pickpocket you and whatever, there are very good people who don't like seeing that happen to people. So I guess another guy saw someone take her phone out, stopped them, got the phone away from them, and like came up to our guide and was like, hey, does this phone belong to one of your people? And yeah, so thankfully it worked out. Nothing was like actually stolen, but you need to be aware of pickpocketers. And it's not just like within Ulaanbaatar that you need to be worried about this. When you're out in the middle of the Gobi, I don't think it matters. But when we were at the gur camps like closer to the city, like maybe a couple hours outside of the city, our guide made sure like you need to make sure you have a lock that works and your door closes properly, because at the gurs, sometimes the gurs won't close like quite right, or like the lock doesn't work quite right. And in the middle of the Gobi it doesn't matter, but he's like, at these particular camps, like if your door doesn't close properly, let me know. If your lock doesn't lock properly, let me know. It's really important we keep you know, your things safe here because we are close to the city and stuff like that tends to be near cities. So remember, pickpocketing, be aware of that. Just be very, very careful about that. So the next thing I want to talk about is food. Now, I'm not a big foodie, so I didn't show any of the food that I was eating throughout Mongolia. But the kind of theme that went through all of the meals is meat. Mongolia is very, very heavy meat-based meals, essentially. So if you are vegan or vegetarian, you need to bring lots and lots of snacks, because if you do a tour like this or like going out into the Gobi Desert and staying at gur camps, there isn't really a whole lot of choice. So I don't know if there was, because there wasn't a vegetarian on our tour, but yeah, even in like the little restaurants and stuff, if you see like vegetable soup there on the menu, there's gonna be meat in it. Like that's what I mean by like Mongolian food is very heavy meat based. So prepare yourselves if you are vegetarian or vegan to like really make sure that there's no meat involved. The other thing, if you are vegan, it's very much a part of the Mongolian culture. When you stay with like local families and stuff like that, they will most likely welcome you with fermented horse milk. So yeah, that's another thing. If you are vegan and you don't want to take part in any of that, beware. If you visit like a local nomadic family and stuff, they will most likely welcome you with fermented milk. So I don't know how to deal with that since I am not vegan or vegetarian, but you should know if you are and are planning to go to Mongolia. So the next point is actually just something that surprised me about Mongolia and I want to share because I thought it was like really interesting. So despite Mongolia being like a herding culture, and at any given point, some cows or sheep or horses or camels will just like walk across the road or across your path or whatever, and you will find a lot of poop on the ground from the herding animals. But even though there are lots of like animals and poops from animals, it smells amazing there. Oh my god, Mongolia smells so good. So there was one time we were doing like a little walk around one of the Gur camps and everyone's just like, what's that smell? What's that smell? It smells amazing. We have no idea what it is, but it smells amazing. There are wildflowers everywhere, which are super pretty and they smell really good. Like Mongolia smells amazing. Amazing. And it just surprised me. And I wish I could like capture that scent because it was really, really good. I really, really like the way Mongolia smells. So next up, Mongolia is a very big country. If you look at a map, you'll be able to tell that. But there's also a lot of empty space between the different points of interest throughout Mongolia, meaning you are going to be spending a lot of time in a car. There were some days where we were like 8-9 hours in a car driving to different parts of Mongolia. So yeah, a lot of time in cars, and there's nothing in between these different points of interest, including rest stops and toilets and bathrooms. So there was like a thing if like you need to use the toilet, we just like, we need a little nature stop happening. Can we get a nature stop going? And you go out, you just walk, you find a rock to squat behind and a little bush over the hill, something, and that's what you do. Now, thankfully, I have a very strong bladder, and the only time I needed to use the nature was when we are staying with the nomadic family because there's 0 facilities there, and I can't go a whole like 24 hours without peeing. Like you need to pee, and so you have to like walk quite a way and you pee out in nature. So make sure you have some hand sanitizer, some whatever you need to do your business with 0 facilities because you're most likely going to need to just pop a squat somewhere. Be prepared. So my last point shouldn't be surprising if you know anything about Mongolia, but if you're new to researching Mongolia and travel in Mongolia, the cities are dirty. Now, I don't think anyone goes to Mongolia and was like, I'm going to spend a week in Ulaanbaatar. Nobody does that. Mongolia's attraction is the vast nature and wilderness of Mongolia, and it is beautiful and amazing, and I love Mongolia. I'm not saying this as like a negative thing. I love Mongolia. It is probably my favorite country I have ever been to at this point in time. Like, oh my god, Mongolia is an amazing country. But the cities are dirty. Now, I am kind of being specific to Ulaanbaatar because we didn't really spend a whole lot of time in like other little towns or whatever. We did stop in at them to like buy bottles of water and stuff because it's not safe to drink the tap water in Mongolia. And I'm gonna kind of put those cities in a different category because a lot of them were like out in the middle of the Gobi Desert. So there's not like nice manicured lawns out in the small towns of the Gobi. I'm gonna let that one slide for being, you know, dirty. But Ulaanbaatar is a dirty, dirty city. Now, I didn't notice it too much when I first arrived and I had my first few days in Ulaanbaatar. You know, it's a gritty city, but I was like, you know, it's all right, right? It's not bad. And then you go out into the countryside and you see how beautiful and amazing Mongolia is. Like, I love Mongolia, but we were like coming back into the city and we're just like, oh no. Oh, why are we here? Can we just like drive all the way through and keep going to the other side? Like, why are we here? This is an awful place. Because it is, you know, factually, it is a very, very polluted city. And it is not, you know, a place you would want to spend like, you know, extra days or whatever. I mean, absolutely, if you're going to go to Mongolia, you're going to be in and out through Ulaanbaatar, like most likely. And there are really good things to see in Ulaanbaatar, the monuments and statues and the museums. Definitely, you know, have some time to see that, but don't book like extra time in Ulaanbaatar. It's not a nice city. The countryside is where it's at. It's beautiful and amazing out there. Ulaanbaatar is just, no. Alright, so that is it for this video. Those are like my 5 kind of, I guess, things to know if you want to go to Mongolia. Some extra tidbits that never made it into the actual travel videos I made. So yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed because I will be back with more videos soon. Bye.